we have the current stock market update for AMC Entertainment Holdings Incorporated, stock ticker AMC. Before we begin with this chart analysis, if you find these educational materials to be helpful in your trading, please remember to click the like and subscribe buttons and leave your thoughts in the comments section below so that other traders will be able to find this information more easily on the platform. So as we can see here, we have the 1 hour price chart, and we have started to see some fairly interesting developments in this stock near term recently, at least on a short term basis. So in this video, what we're going to be doing is drilling into some very specific price levels to identify some support and resistance zones that can be used to establish profitable trading strategies for this stock going forward. So as we know, next week is a fairly critical week for this stock. Not only have we started to see this near-term bounce here right off of roughly $4.66, we did see a fairly strong close into the end of the week. I mean, we almost overcame the $5 level. We didn't quite get there, but there are still some positives on this chart that I do want to point out. Because there's a possibility here that we could see some extension if certain levels are broken, and I will cover those levels. But we do need to kind of start, I think, by sort of assessing the broader picture here, because what we will be seeing next week will be a very important earnings release from GameStop. I understand not everybody that's long AMC is also long GameStop. Some people don't like it when I talk about one stock or the other. But I think it's obvious that in many cases these two stocks do trade in sympathy with one another. In other words, a positive trend for one stock tends to help the other stock and vice versa. So next week we will be seeing an earnings report from GameStop after a fairly strong rally that has been seen in that stock over the last week or so. So this is a critical inflection point in my view. I mean, I do think that this is an important time period for the stock. I think it's sort of a make or break moment in many ways. I understand that many people that have been holding these stocks have been doing so for years. It might not seem as though short-term events have much of a sway in either direction. Many people are just sort of committed to holding the stock for like forever or not. But I do think that near term here, we're likely to see some significant influences here in terms of the broader trend trajectory for these stocks. So first, I'll start up by pointing out some important price levels for AMC. So recently what we have here, we have seen share prices start to run into some very strong resistance right around $4.95. I should have written that out here. But this line here, this arrow that I'm pointing to, this region here, is $4.95. So it's significant from a psychological perspective because it does suggest that share prices were heading lower without even being able to retest that $5 mark, which is obviously very important for this stock. It's kind of a major line in the sand. This recent failure into $4.61 was critical and important because it violated the prior low, and then in the process you were also starting to see some lower highs as well. So there's a very clear trend wave here that was starting to develop in the negative direction. However, more recently what we did see was a break of this resistance zone here, which is a price level that I pointed out, I believe, in the last video or maybe the video before that. This area of resistance comes in just above 480. So we're talking roughly $4.82 here. This is an area of historical resistance. And then in addition to that, it really did sort of mark the bottom, not exactly, but it did roughly mark the bottom of the exponential moving average cluster, which would be this series of 4 moving averages that's on this chart here. So once we did have the potential to break into that area, this did sort of open a pathway here toward further topside. And this is what gave the stock the momentum that it needed to break above the entire exponential moving average cluster. So essentially that final marker would have been here, which is this declining blue line. That's the 200 period exponential moving average. This is the hourly price chart. Every candle is 1 hour. So this is the 200 hour exponential moving average. So at the moment, we're now trading above all 4 of these EMAs, exponential moving averages. So that's a positive sign. That is an indicator of upside momentum, bullish momentum. And this also comes in conjunction with similar price movements in GameStop. Before that, we were not really seeing AMC respond to the rallies that were developing in GameStop, and this was another reason to be concerned here. But more recently, just sort of right into the end of the trading day on Friday, we were starting to see upside price movements in both of these stocks. So, I would say that that's significant. I think that these stocks are starting to trade in sympathy with one another, sort of track one another a bit, at least in terms of overall direction. And then in addition to that, you have to take into consideration the fact that there is a lot of selling pressure that's taking place in the market right now. I understand people aren't really interested in some of these other stocks, but I would suggest people take a look at one, the NVIDIA video that I released, and two, the Broadcom video that I released. Why do I say that? Very different companies, obviously very different from a movie theater stock. But the reason that I bring these up is because both of these companies recently reported very strong earnings reports, very strong quarterly earnings reports, and both of those stocks have been selling off massively. The market is punishing those stocks that were falling to some extreme lows. Broadcom is gapping lower. That's a very stable stock, and it's gapping lower to the downside. So, there's a lot going on in the market at the moment here, and what we're starting to see is some evidence of upside in both GameStop and AMC. So can that continue next week? I think a major question here will be the earnings report that is released from GameStop next week. It's early in the week. This is going to be a critical event for the outlook here going forward, because I do think that if we see a negative earnings report, it's going to weigh heavily on sentiment here. I don't think that it's going to be easy for GameStop and AMC share prices to continue with this trend if we see a negative earnings report from GameStop. I think that that's not controversial. What might be more controversial would be in the event that we do see a positive earnings report from GameStop. So the real question there at that point, will the market behave in the same way? What did we see with NVIDIA and Broadcom? I'm not saying they're the same company. Do not write in the comments that he's comparing these two companies. I'm not doing that. What I'm talking about here is market behavior and current market sentiment. Is the market rewarding companies from releasing positive earnings, or does the market simply not care right now? So I think that would be a little bit more of a controversial viewpoint. What happens exactly to AMC if we see a positive earnings report from GameStop? I understand it's not the same company, but will this be enough to generate share price momentum? Will it be enough to keep this stock moving forward above the $5 mark? So here's the current market update for AMC Entertainment Holdings Incorporated, stock ticker AMC. Our high value trading strategies membership is currently available for a limited time for only $9.99 per month. These high conviction investment strategies are characterized by superior risk to reward metrics that target massive market beating returns over time. Join now to outperform the market. Lock in this special introductory rate of just $9.99 per month for the entire lifetime of your membership and start trading stocks with the pros.